Hello, and welcome to the College Sports Report. I'm your host, Brandon Buckner. This is episode 7 of the College Sports Report. Now, when I was last on the air, I talked all about recruiting and how college teams were dealing with recruitment. This week on the College Sports Report, I'll be continuing my discussion with that and also talk more about these face coverings and pro and college coaches and how are they getting fined for not wearing their face coverings if they should. I will then pick my games of the week for Washington's and the Ravens games against the Giants and the Indianapolis Colts to end my week here on the College Sports Report for this week. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, this week, the Las Vegas Raiders have reportedly fined 500,000 and denied their sixth-round pick in the 2021 NFL Draft over several violations of coronavirus safety guidelines. According to one source who spoke to ESPN Raiders head coach Jon Gruden, has also been fined $150,000 for brazen and repeated violations of COVID-19 protocols. The punishments were first reported by Yahoo Sports on Thursday. The team had already been punished with a $250,000 fine, and Gruden was one for $100,000 after he was accused of not properly wearing a mask during an earlier game. According to ESPN, the team was fined an additional $50,000 for giving a no credentialed employee access to the locker room following that game. ESPN reported that tight end Darren Waller had been fined $30,000, and 9 teammates, including quarterback Derek Carr, were faced with $15,000 fines each for attending an October 5th Waller Foundation charity event where they were seen not wearing masks while socializing with crowds. The Raiders now face a total of $1.185 million in fines as a result, and is the first team in the NFL to lose a draft pick as punishment for COVID-19 violations. This comes 2 weeks after right tackle Trent Brown tested positive for COVID-19, prompting 4 other members of the Las Vegas team's offensive line to self-quarantine after being identified as close contacts. This week, the NFL released revised COVID-19 safety guidelines, including recommending players and other team staffs wear masks on the sidelines throughout the games. Late last month, the NFL fined the Tennessee Titans $350,000 for team members not wearing masks at all times, as well as incident of players meeting or exercising at team facilities after hours. So the league said at the time that they believed that these actions caused a COVID-19 outbreak that affected 13 Titans players and 11 members of the support staff, making it the NFL's first major outbreak of COVID-19 since the season resumed this year. Other NFL teams and coaches have also received fines for not wearing masks at games. In September, the Seattle Seahawks, Denver Broncos, and San Francisco 49ers were fined $250,000 each, as well as $100,000 fines for each of the team's head coaches. Now, why am I giving you this information? Why am I really giving you this information? Because this is what happens. The NFL goes and they think they're safe. They think they're safe to do this. They think they're safe to go out and play and have games without not wearing their masks. No, no, no. You have to continue to wear your mask because you can endanger the lives of your players and your assistant coaches. You can endanger them from getting sick, especially with these older coaches. I can't stress this enough. Older coaches have to be safe. If young coaches like Jon Gruden not wearing his mask, Mike Tomlin not wearing his mask, Kyle Shanahan not wearing his mask, Sean McVay not wearing his mask, those are endangering the lives of your coaches, of your older coaches, and of your older players. If the players are older than you and seem to be older than you, seem to not, have a strong immune system as these young players have. So let's keep a close eye on this NFL and see where this fine goes. Because listen, yeah, you're being fined for not wearing your mask. I mean, we're still in COVID-19. You're not wearing your mask. It's you're bound to get fined for that. So moving on here. So another coach who was fined this week, as I mentioned, the Pittsburgh Steelers were fined $250,000. The coach Mike Tomlin was fined $100,000 for failure to follow COVID-19 protocols. NFL Network insider Ian Rapoport reported Friday. The discipline stems from members of the coaching staff, including Tomlin, not wearing face coverings at all times on the sidelines during his past Sunday's game against the Ravens. Rapoport added, ESPN first reported the news. The Steelers are the third team to be punished for violation protocols relating to COVID-19. The Raiders have been fined multiple times, most recently this week with the $650,000 penalty and the loss of a draft pick. The Titans were also fined $350,000 in late October for protocol violations. On Monday, the Steelers announced they were following the league's intensive protocols in light of Ravens cornerback Marlon Humphrey testing positive for COVID-19. All of Pittsburgh tests from the Week 8 contest came back negative. So the team announced Saturday it was informed this morning that a staff member had tested positive for COVID-19 and is now in quarantine. So listen, Mike Tomlin, you know better, man. Your team is 7-0. Your team is first place in AFC North, and you're not wearing your mask. This is why the Ravens have so many COVID-19 players that are going to be out Sunday against the Colts because of your misjudgment of not wearing your mask. Because I mean of your negligence for not wearing your mask. You coaches have to continue wearing their mask. Players have to wear your masks. If you're a young coach, if you're a young player, you still have to wear your mask because you're not exempt from not wearing your masks. If other coaches are doing it that are younger than you, and players that are doing it that are younger than you, and you see them wearing their masks, you have to wear your mask as well in order to prevent the spread of the virus because the virus can still spread. You know, we're still going through, and you gotta keep you gotta keep yourself safe, and just continue to remain that have that social distancing problem that's going to be very hard to get right if you continue not wearing your mask. So please continue to wear your mask, NFL coaches, and this goes for college coaches as well. Continue to do that. In college news, the Maryland men's basketball team will host the Navy Midshipmen and Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers in a 3-team, 2-game tournament right after Thanksgiving break. CBS insider John Rothstein reported. In the round-robin event at Xfinity Center, the Terps will face Navy on Friday, November 27th, and Mount St. Mary's on Sunday, November 29th. Maryland hasn't faced either of these schools since November 2018, 2 years ago. The Terps defeated the Midshipmen 78-57 in Annapolis and were victorious against the Mountaineers in a 92-77 game at the Xfinity Center. Then sophomore guard Darryl Morsell reached double-digit scoring in both games. While much remains unclear about Maryland's schedule for the 2021 seasons, the team did announce last week that it will take on Clemson in the Big Ten/ACC Challenge in the basketball tournament. So that's pretty good. Maryland's football coming back. Maryland's college basketball is coming back. This is what we need. We're inching closer to having sports come back, but still being safe. We're inching closer to having these college teams come back and play, but at the same time being safe, wearing your mask. At the same time, where pro sports have come back, like the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, the WNBA, the MLB, the soccer league, all of those guys came back and finished their seasons. The NFL has yet to finish their season. Hopefully they can. But if they can't, be in quarantine again. It's okay. I mean, the WNBA finished their season. The Storm won the championship. The NBA finished their season. The Lakers won the championship in that league. So, you got to keep other teams safe in your penalty. And if you get penalized for it, it's okay because, you're not getting fined. They're not being out here like these NFL coaches are not wearing their mask. They're not being protected. So it's pretty good. Really, really good. Moving on here. So after completing 26 of 35 passes for 394 yards and accounting for 5 touchdowns in Maryland's 44-45 overtime win over Minnesota last week, Terrapin quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has been named the Big Ten Co-Offensive Player of the Week. If the name Tua Tagovailoa is speaks out to you, then he's the younger brother of Tua Tagovailoa of the Miami Dolphins, quarterback of Miami Dolphins. Yes, he is Tua Tagovailoa's younger brother who plays for the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Tua brothers have seen a lot of action. The Temperance are 1-1. The Dolphins are 4-3. The Tua brothers are getting it done. Tua is getting it done in college, and Tua is getting it done in the NFL ranks. And these guys are just hitting it on all cylinders. Now, Tua Tagovailoa has been named the Big Ten Co-Offensive Player of the Week. The conference announced on Monday. Tagovailoa also been named to the Davey O'Brien National Quarterback Awards Grade 8 list and is one of 8 quarterbacks selected as Manning Award Stars of the Week. Fans can vote for the Manning Award Quarterback of the Week by a native of Iwa Beach, Hawaii. Tagovailoa became just the 3rd Big Ten player in the last 20 seasons to notch 350 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns in a single game. His efforts helped the Terps 1-1, overcoming a 17-point fourth-quarter deficit to defeat the Gophers on Friday night. Tagovailoa has 394 passing yards, with the 10th most in a single game in school history, and the most since Danny O'Brien passed for 417 yards against NC State in 2010. The sophomore added 59 rushing yards, including a 39-yard rushing touchdown in the first quarter. Tagovailoa is Maryland's first Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week since running back Javon Lee earned the honor on October 29th, 2 years ago, 2018. After scoring 4 touchdowns in the win over Illinois, Tagovailoa and the Terps return to action on Saturday at Penn State. The game is set to kick off at 3:30 p.m., which is another half an hour from now, and will be broadcast on the Big Ten Network and the Maryland Sports Radio Network. So you can catch the game today at 3:30 on the Big Ten Network. And where to catch the Big Ten Network on your television? You gotta the TV guy. You gotta look on your TV television sets, the screen. So Tua Tagovailoa, the Tagovailoa brothers are having a great year in pro and college. Tua is getting it done in Miami. Tua is getting it done in Maryland. Now the Terrapins have only won one game, so we'll see what happens against Penn State today. If he can pull off another upset, Penn State is 2-0. Maryland is 1-1. So if we can get Maryland to 2-1, that'd be great. That means he would have been a probably player of the week next week too. So if you want to go and support your fellow college teams and players to vote for the Manning Award Stars of the Week, you go to MarylandTerrapins.com to vote all the college players that you want to see win that award and get that prestigious title in their hands. So moving on here. So the University of Maryland Terps are just over a week removed from their thrilling 45-44 win in overtime against Minnesota, led by sophomore Tua Tagovailoa's near-perfect performance. The Alabama transfer dismantled the Golden Gophers defense with this mobility, highlighted by his 39-yard touchdown run in the first quarter. At that point, he was just getting started. Tagovailoa finished the game completing 26 of 35 passes for 394 yards with 5 total touchdowns, becoming the third Big Ten player in the past 20 seasons to record 350 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns in a single game. He also received the honor of co-offensive player of the week in the Big Ten. This was like night and day compared to the 94 yards and 3 interceptions he threw in the 43-3 loss to Northwestern in the first game of the season. Head coach Mike Lawsky was excited about Tua's breakout game, but he doesn't want the roller coaster ride of inconsistencies anymore. So Penn State, which is 0-2 and all right at the beginning of the season in the top 10, remains the heavy favorite against the Terps. This is an opportunity for Maryland to prove to the nation it's a legit threat in the division, which includes the likes of Michigan, Michigan State, and Ohio State, all opponents who there later face their season. The other co-offensive player of the week, Ohio State's Justin Fields, was spectacular, throwing for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns at Penn State. So if Tagovailoa can somewhat mimic what he did last week without giving the ball up in the process, the Terps will have a fighting chance. Like I said, Maryland visits Penn State Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to check out the game in your neighborhood. So Tua Tagovailoa, he hails from Hawaii. He comes from a whole bunch of Hawaiian cultures, Hawaiian parents, Hawaiian cities. This kid and his brother Tua, who plays for the Dolphins, they are Hawaiian brothers. And if Tua were to transfer out of college and go straight to the pros next year in 2021, who knows? Tua might be considered to play alongside his brother in Miami in the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they're from Hawaii, so why wouldn't they pick Miami Dolphins to play for the team that they were drafted by? But I mean, he plays for Maryland now, so Maryland is indeed unlike a football center that quarterback is hailed from. Coach Mike Locksley, listening to his post-game press conference after the game against Minnesota last week, saying that this game was too close. He felt like Maryland should have put the hammer down when they should have. He felt like Maryland could have squeaked away with the win. But since they did not do it, since it was a close game, and they know you can't play close games in pros and in college, because if you play them, then you're easily going to get blown out. Just like Maryland did, 43-3 loss to Northwestern, the first game of the season. They got blown out, and it wasn't a pretty game that day. But they're visiting Penn State today. Hopefully it will be a sign of good measures for Maryland Terrapins. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick break. When I get back, we're talking more Maryland